Am I the idiot for refusing to babysit my BF's daughter while her mother gets chemotherapy? My boyfriend, male, mid-30s, has a daughter, G, who's 10, with his ex-wife. T. The ex-wife is fighting a very aggressive form of brain cancer. Now, a bit of backstory. T and I never did get on well. I met my BF while he was in the proceedings of their divorce, and I think she's always thought we had an affair long before then. She hates me a lot, and so does G. I've been called a homewrecker, a slut and other nice things ever since I first met them. Now, my BF is usually very quick to shut down their bullshit, but he adores his daughter and still cares about ex-wife. They've been together 15 years, and have been friends since their childhood. Ever since the diagnosis, he's been the one driving ex-wife to medical appointments and such. And he's asked me the favor to look after his daughter while he's with T. He knows what a huge favor it is. He's thanked me profusely every time, and I know how much he needs my help. Everything went to poop a few HRS ago, when I was asked to bring G back to her mother's house. T started saying I must be glad she's dying, because I can keep my BF to myself now. She said I must be happy, because now I get to keep her daughter and pretend she's mine. She said a lot of ugly things, and BF didn't do anything to correct her. I stayed really quiet, because to be frank I was incredibly shocked. Still TBH. When we got home I lost it with him and told him I wouldn't keep his daughter any longer, not if he allowed T to talk to me in such a manner. He said I'd be a huge idiot if I went through with this because T has just found she's only got a few weeks left and not the months she'd previously thought. Is he right? Would I be the idiot if I stopped babysitting his daughter? 2ND edit. So, thanks. I've read all your comments and thought about all the points you made. I will continue to look after the kid. To be honest, I think I never had any actual intentions of stopping. In my anger, I just wanted my BF to listen to me for a moment, and I think I need to have a chat with my BF. I haven't seen him yet since the fight, because he had to go back to his exes shortly after. We'll see. Maybe I'll do an update once things settle down. Thank you again. I appreciate your help. Edit. Thanks for taking the time to share your opinions, folks. I am very surprised and grateful and appreciate everyone's insight. I'm a bit more level-headed at the moment, so I'll take the time to expand on some points I've seen brought up in the comments. No, my BF and I did not have an affair. I can't believe I have to say this. Their divorce was almost finalized when we met, and the reason they divorced was that they'd been growing more and more distant, to the point where ex-wife had an extramarital affair and BF didn't even care. I trust him, because he's shown me again and again the truthfulness of his words. His daughter was always going to be a part of my life. I knew that from the very beginning. My BF and his daughter have always been very, very close. We sat down a while ago, after X's diagnosis, and talked it out. There is no doubt his daughter was always coming to live with us after her mother's death. And one thing, I love my boyfriend, and so I care deeply about the people he loves, too, which include his daughter. I care for the kid a lot, and have tried and was always going to keep trying to build a relationship with her. It's the daughter who wants nothing, and I repeat, nothing to do with me. I am under no delusions about what our future will be like. The kid has always been my BF's priority, rightfully so, and I know she's going to need her dad a lot after her mother passes. I also know my BF is going to be grieving heavily, and was ready to support him fully. My BF was able to just stand there and watch as his ex-wife spouted so much anger and sheer hatred at me that I was struck dumb. I have never seen anything like it. And he just stood there, watching me in tears as this woman kept yelling and yelling. He didn't do a thing, not even guide me out of the room. It felt much like a betrayal, to be honest, and the fact that he was not even a bit understanding afterwards has made me reconsider pretty much everything. I am sorry, but I cannot completely excuse my ex-wife for her past behavior. BF says she's always been very headstrong and jealous, and he never found anything weird with her. Her behavior started changing around 6 months ago, and we all started noticing then. Update. First, I sat my BF down for a chat as soon as I saw him again, which was the day following our discussion. He agreed that we needed to talk, and told me he was sorry for calling me an idiot, that he had been so much in shock that he hardly even remembered the whole fight in the first place. I told him I could understand that, and told him I love him and wanted to be there for him and support him throughout this ordeal. I also added, though, that I would need him to be able to stick up for me in the future, even against his daughter, who would be grieving and in a lot of pain. I told him to think about it, and let me know, and also said that I would keep his daughter for as long as he needed me to independently from his answer. He asked me to marry him on the spot, no ring or anything. But he was crying and it was very sweet, so now we're engaged and relatively happy. Second, T passed away a week later. I followed your suggestion, and didn't see her again. G is living full-time with us now, and I have what I think are, if not good, hopeful news. 10 days after her mother's death, she broke down in hysterics because she wanted her mom. It was an incredibly sad moment. She kept yelling insults at me and crying and again yelling at me. I was in tears, because seeing a child in that much pain is heart-wrenching. So I intervened before my fiancé could say anything, told G that I couldn't bear to see her so distressed, and that I would go stay with a friend until she felt a bit better, that I loved her, and just wanted her to be less sad. She ran to me, hugged me and begged me not to leave her. We cried together, and I think we might be on the road to healing. That is to say, thank you Reddit folks for your feedback. You're awesome. Edit. Wow, didn't expect this at all. Thanks for the support and the suggestions. Also, we're not getting married anytime soon. I took his proposal as a heartfelt gesture, and I am sure he meant it that way, too. Not the idiot. I read your last post and I continue with the same thing. Your fiancé and his ex are the bad guys. He for not defending you and she for being abusive. She insulted you since before the diagnosis, and even after having a disease is no excuse for being an idiot. Not the idiot. I think you handled the situation as well as possible. G will always remember that you cared enough about her happiness to be willing to step aside if that's what she needed. Ironically, by offering to leave, you created stability for her by respecting her feelings and showing you value her. I wish you and your family all the best in the future. Was she too cruel to a dying mother? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for raising the rent on my wife's ex-husband? I, male 31, have known my wife 33F since we were in high school. We have been married for 6 years and have 3 kids under 5. My wife got married to her now ex-husband 38M when she was 20 and he was 25. They have 1 daughter, female 12, together that my wife has primary custody of. Their marriage fell apart when her ex cheated with his now wife 10 years ago. They now have a son, 9. 3 years ago my grandparents passed away and left me their house. I basically grew up in that house. We decided to move into it. It's bigger on land, and we're going to sell my old house. But that was when the panda hit. My wife's ex lost his job and where they were living. We did them a favor because of my stepdaughter. She calls me Papa and let them move into my old house at a discounted rate. Our relationship has been okay until recently. He started to act like the house they are in is theirs and not taking care of it. I have brought it up every now and then, but they usually blow me off. I brought up the idea of raising the rent to a fair market to my wife, but she doesn't think it is a good idea. Money is not the issue, it is the entitled attitude they carry. If anything were to happen, we would still retain primary custody of my stepdaughter. That house was my first big investment. I did them a favor when I could have just sold it, but now they are disrespecting me and my property. They are not struggling anymore and I'm not sure what to do. I want to make my wife happy, but I can handle the disrespect. Edit. Just to clarify, my wife are bio kids and stepdaughter lives in my grandparents' old house. Wife's ex's wife that their kid lives in my old house I bought years ago. Update. I sat down with my wife and showed her the post I made. She was mad, but after reading the comments she apologized and said this should have happened a long time ago. She said that if it was anyone else that she would have told me to kick them out. She affirmed that she was worried about our daughter and their relationship. But I understood that this is not right and how patient I have been about the whole situation. She agreed with things needed to change, but to give them the opportunity to make the change themselves. We decided that we were going to talk to them first and see how they react. The first part was me explaining the expectation of how this arrangement should be working. I showed them the lease that they have been singing since the beginning. In the agreement, it does state that tenant is responsible for the upkeep of the house and property. I pointed out the things that are being neglected. With proof, my wife pointed out how much they are taking advantage of me being a nice guy and letting them live there. She pulled up the info on a similar property I own and the monetary details of the current tenant, including the fact they or ex are paying about 1/3 of the rent at market value. They got mad and said that I'm just doing this because I'm trying to push them out of my wife's new perfect family. I told them bluntly that their current lease is up in 3 months. That gives them 90 days to decide on the 4 options I am laying out. 1. They don't do anything to the property and they find a new place to live, as I won't renew the lease. 2. Fix of all current neglect and damages, as well as all future upkeep, and the rent will be going up to 2/3 of the market value. The lease will only be a 3-month lease. Any more future neglect will result in eviction or raised to full market value after those 3 months. 3. Do nothing during that time and I will be putting the house on the market to be sold, taking the house and putting it in property management so they would have to deal with them. 4. They get evicted in 30 days for breach of the lease agreement. The 30 days will start a week from that day to give them the time to think. I think these options are fair but still allow them some of my charity. I respect him as a father of my daughter, but things need to change. If he doesn't step up for his family and make changes that are on him. We explained to our daughter some of the basics and told her we do not want this situation to change how she views us or her father's family. She understood and said we are being too nice to someone who is taking advantage of the family. She said she didn't like going over there and would rather stay with us full time. We understood, but now it is rough. We don't want to be accused of parental alienation. Things keep getting worse. We are going to talk to my wife's lawyer about better ways to move forward. Update 1.5. I don't know who will read this, but we are now scheduling a custody agreement regarding my stepdaughter. She has expressed her concern about staying with us full time. We had her sit down with our lawyer. My daughter has been going to therapy for a while now and her therapist agrees that it would be best. The lawyer thinks we will have a good case because our state takes into consideration what the child wants. Her ex did say that he was sorry for taking advantage of my generosity. He is currently going with option 2, but I fear that he will do something after he finds out about his daughter wanting to stay with us. I have everything documented, and if he tries something he will be evicted. Not the idiot. I'm confused how they think they are a part of your wife's new family. Like, yes, of course, daughter's family, but in no way a part of your family where they are your responsibility. I could only dream of having a friend, non-friend, who could give me that kind of hookup in an affordable place. The place would be spotless. It's concerning your daughter is half like kicking them out and half I don't want to go either way. Please try to get her to open up about what's going on there. Is Opus being too harsh on his wife's ex? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for choosing to go on a trip with my girlfriend instead of taking care of my struggling brother's son? For context, my male 24, brother Luke, 31M, his wife Emma, female 28, and their son Kyle, male 4, moved to my city last year because Emma got a new job. They would occasionally ask me to watch Kyle because I work from home with very flexible hours. I personally do not like kids at all, but I was happy to do it at the time because I wanted to help them. It was not that often, maybe once or twice every 2 weeks, and Kyle was very well behaved. Now the issue started near the end of last year when Luke decided to change careers. He was previously working remotely as well. His new job required him to go to work a lot more often, and make substantially less money. This left them depending on me more and more to take care of Kyle. It went from once or twice every 2 weeks to around 3 days out of the week. To make matters worse, Kyle's behavior changed drastically. To be completely honest, I can barely stand the kid anymore, constantly running around and screaming while I'm trying to work and just overall being a little poop. My sister-in-law Emma was over the other day picking up Kyle and made some comments about getting rid of some of the dangerous furniture in my house, like tables with glass edges and stuff so that my home is safer for their son, and made a joke about baby-proofing my house because they're planning to have a daughter. This pissed me off, but I didn't say anything. The situation hit a breaking point last Friday when I was talking about the 1.5-week-long trip I was going on with my girlfriend on the 15th. Me and my GF like to travel somewhere nice at least once a month. We could not the past couple months because of Kyle, but I promised my GF we would go somewhere exotic for Valentine's. Upon hearing this, they got pretty mad, saying who was going to take care of Kyle, that I need to stop these childish trips, and that I need to take more responsibility because I'm an uncle now. I'm not gonna lie, after hearing this I freaking snapped. I said that their demon child isn't my responsibility and I'm not just gonna give up my life because they fricked without a condom. It got pretty obscene from there and some horrible things were said. They left and we are no longer on speaking terms. My parents and Emma's parents are on their side and extremely angry at me for refusing to pull my weight. My parents said that this is my duty. I should be sacrificing everything to help them. It's honestly got me really down and I've cried my eyes pretty much every day since seeing those messages from my family. I'm starting to wonder if I really should be taking more responsibility. Am I the idiot for choosing my trips over my brother and nephew? Update. Thank you everyone for the comments. After reading through for about an hour, it kinda helped me realize how toxic my relationship is with my family. As many of you mentioned, yes, my brother is the golden child of the family, and thinking about it now, that favoritism is the main reason I wanted to move away from them so badly in the first place. I had a talk with my brother and my sister-in-law where I apologized for calling their child a demon and for the condom remark. They accepted my apology, but they did not apologize to me. Apparently ours and my sister-in-law's parents were not just telling them but encouraging them to use me for help the whole time. I told them how exhausted and frustrated I was and how much this whole poop show has hurt me, and that I would not be watching Kyle anymore, period, and that they need to figure something else out. They did not take it well and my sister-in-law started yelling again, and after some arguing my sister-in-law said that if I would not watch Kyle, the least I could do is pay for his daycare and help with some of our other expenses since I have the money to zip off to a different country every month. I was honestly appalled. I would not have minded to help them out financially, but the tone of her voice as she said it was just infuriating. The only thing they heard was that I would not continue helping them. They didn't give a poop about anything else I said. I just got up and left their house without saying a word. I wanted to leave before I completely exploded again. 10 minutes after I left, my phone started buzzing with them and my parents, and I just put it on D&D. I read a lot of comments saying I should go no contact, and I really did not want to have to do that, but they are very clearly not interested in respecting me as a human being, so that's it. I will not be speaking to my family until they want to genuinely apologize to me, not the idiot. While the favoritism is obvious, I suspect they made use of the grandparents previously, prior to the move. Opus says he moved away to get away from his family, and this all started when brother and sister-in-law moved closer to him. I am sure that they had all decided before the move that Opus would be helping out when they got there. They just didn't bother to get his opinion.